Hello, everybody, and welcome to the party. My name is Don. With me is the crew of the Dark Horse, and you are joining us now for Star Wars The First Ember. Before we get into our meat of the story tonight, we here at Welcome to the Party would like to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors that help make the channel possible. That is a huge thanks to Tabletop Loot, our amazing dice sponsor, providers of fine dice for all of your gaming needs. Head on over to tabletoploot.com. Use the code WTTPDICE to get 15% off of your next purchase. Now, Maddie and his amazing merch shop are the sole providers of Welcome to the Party merchandise, so head on over to sonerdwear.com. Use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off of your next purchase. So Nerdwear. It's what the nerds wear. Now, Welcome to the Party is proudly sponsored by Roll20, the virtual tabletop that runs straight out of your web browser. Everything you need to play with your friends is ready at the click of a mouse, from click-to-roll character sheets to built-in video and voice chat. You can even upload your own maps and tokens. Get everything you need and more with a free basic account on roll20.net/start/WTTP. Finally, Welcome to the Party is proudly supported by Devin Rue, who has provided huge support to the community ever since we've launched. For some of the best cartographical content on the web, go ahead and check out rueinc.com. Now, our Patreon not only goes to support the channel, but to the amazing people who support it too. Your generosity allows us to keep working on our mission to platform amazing LGBTQ+ and BIMPOC players and creators. So come check us out, patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg. And as always, come and join us on our amazing Discord, where you can chat with myself, all of my wonderful players, and plenty more people who would love to talk some games with you. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and introduce the crew of the Dark Horse. We are going to go ahead and get started with Summer.
Hello, I am Persephone. I play Summer, a Sith and current Inquisitor. Current Sith, former Inquisitorius. I
Very
can't
important to
fucking
get
talk.
those correct.
Yes.
Yes, our former Inquisitor, now Sith Rebel. Next is Creva.
Hello, I am Sorkia. I am playing Creva Australis. I apologize for the tech difficulties. I cannot be seen tonight.
You do not need to be seen to be felt, as we have seen with Creva's sniper rifle.
Yeah, too true.
Next is Zora.
Hello, I am Kupo Knight, and tonight I will be playing Zora Sade, the Togruta Guardian of the Will.
Next comes Oni.
Hello, I go by Ulfrig Online, and I will be playing Oni, who is a Dathomirian Force Witch / Night Sister. Ooh.
And last but certainly not least is Kiala.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly. I'll be playing Kiala Ivaro, and Kiala is an albino Balasar who is a spicer, smuggler Jedi Knight.
With the players set upon the stage, we return to the crew of the Dark Horse 6 months after the duel on Korriban. When they were last there, they managed to use a slicing program designed by the Jedi Padawan Kali Jasto in order to send out a message to the entire galaxy all at once, calling for them to rise up, calling for rebellion against the Empire. Thankfully, people were listening. And within those 6 months, the Alliance has slowly started to wake up. It has managed to strike out against the Empire, win some very early, though minor victories in order to show that these new rebels have a fight in them that the Empire is not going to be able to crush like it has with so many other insurrections. But it does mean that things have become more dangerous in the galaxy. A true civil war is on the verge of breaking out, and it is the Dark Horse that was the first to call this fight as a unified front, not just individual cells that had no hope against the might of the Empire by itself. After 6 months of taking care of their own business, going around gathering allies, supplies, and attending to personal affairs, the Dark Horse now finds itself back on Socorro, where it began this journey so long ago. Socorro has become a centerpiece of the nascent rebellion through equipment and supplies through the Tenloss Corporation, as well as the excellent pilots and scouts provided by the Black Belier, and soldier power provided by the tribes of Socorro and the many smugglers that visit the planet. It's become something of a headquarters. Not perhaps a formal one, but one where people know that they can go in order to get information, to get equipment, to get extra help, and more importantly, to relax away in safety from the Empire. It is no surprise that after everything that has happened, every single member of the Dark Horse has a bounty on their head. They are for enormous amounts of credits, the highest of which belong to Summer, wanted alive, and
Wanted
Kiala,
alive,
wanted
really.
alive. Mhm.
Nice.
And Kiala also wanted alive. The others, their bounties are only slightly less and are strictly dead.
Ah,
With that said, a return to Socorro only makes sense. It is time to lay low for a little bit, connect with your allies, form new plans for how you want to strike out against the Empire from there. And also, you've probably been running around exhausted within the interim period. Maybe nice to actually stop for a moment, talk to your fellow shipmates about everything that's happened in between, and maybe grab a drink while you're at it. The Dark Horse touches down back on Vikaea City, where we began this adventure. Vikaea City is again a ramshackle city. It's one that appears to have sprung up around many different cultures that all came to this planet and just started building, essentially. It has a projected force field over top of it, which manages to keep out some of the extreme heat of this planet. The scorched sands of Socorro get a very breezy 45 degrees centigrade at the polar caps. It only gets hotter the closer to the equator you go. Thankfully, the deflector shield dissipates the worst of it. However, as you arrive back in Vikaea City, you do notice that the city, one, has expanded quite a bit since last you've been here, and two, it has appeared to have expanded with quite a bit of Imperial tech. The destroyed Star Destroyer, Rancor, as well as the Acclimator assault ship that you blew up, the Acrimony, appears to have been salvaged very quickly by the locals of Socorro, who have sent out groups to pull down their wreckages and started using whatever was left in order to improve their lives. Um, so with that said, I will turn back over to the crew. The landing gear touches down. The hydraulics give a groan, taking on the weight of the ship. Steam pours out as the reactor begins to vent itself after a very long flight through space. And we go into the interior of the starship. Who would like to go first in explaining what has your character been up to in the past 6 months, and what perhaps are they most looking forward to now that you've returned here?
I mean, if nobody else wants to go first, I'll go first.
Certainly. Go ahead, Summer.
Summer took a little bit of time on her home world of Vault, and took some time and mourned for her family. In addition, fixing her primary saber, in addition to her other saber, fixing the primary saber by taking Tresinia's Crate Dragon Pearl and kind of putting that on top of the cracked crystal to stabilize it. And so her main saber is now kind of a pearlescent red. With her other saber that used to be an Inquisitorius one, she's fixed it up a little bit so it doesn't look as janky anymore. And so both of them are curved tilt lightsabers now, and they can be combined into a saber staff. Also, she hung out on Kashyyyk for a while doing some gorilla shit. And Summer is really looking forward to some fucking Sokoran ale.
Fair enough. The fight on Kashyyyk, especially for Summer, was not an easy one. When Summer last went there, she was able to find that there were resistance movements originally that were trying their damnedest to free the planet. The majority of them have had waves of success and failure. Summer managed to get there during a lull. You did hear rumors, though, from the local Wookiees of prior to this, there was a resistance movement led by a Saul Guerrera that was trying to overthrow the empire there and was pushed off the planet. And with that, they also were talking about another individual that was there with a lightsaber and doing a damn amount of destruction to Imperial forces on the world, but they have no idea where that individual might have been either.
Do they know? Did they know either where Saw Gerrera or that other individual went?
The last that they heard, Saw was heading closer to the mid rim, supposedly meeting up with contacts there. The other individual they were not sure of, but they know that that individual was searching for something on Kashyyyk, something so old even the Wookiees were not quite sure of it.
Hmm.
But their traces have gone cold.
Out of character, I know 2 people who that could be. You do
So-
not touch my face. Ugh.
So, who's next? What have you been doing in the past 6 months, and what are you most looking forward to on Socorro?
You can do it, Zora. You can do it. You can go next.
I was about to type for Sorkia because Sorkia was being kind of quiet.
If none of you go, it's just gonna be the summer show.
Summer
Kiala can go next if that's all right.
I'm being quiet because I can be.
Oh my god, get out.
Ooh, I need to get some lotion for that sick burn.
I mean, subtlety is not always the best approach.
Kiala, what have you been up to in the past 6 months?
So there's been a number of things that Kiala has been switching her focus on. She has been approached by Oni, who recently finished building her lightsaber, and so she has been eagerly assisting in teaching Oni how to use the lightsaber in the various lightsaber forms for the past 6 months. And she's also spent a bit of time with Barven and with Kali, specifically relearning a lot of the Jedi teachings from before, saying, all right, now people are actually coming to me like I know what I'm doing. So I actually now have to know what I'm doing. And so she's sort of getting guidance from her old colleagues and mentors. She also she sought out the pirate Jirok and his crew and got in touch with them again and spent quite a bit of time on their ship, learning their piratey tips and tricks and backwater guerrilla tactics, and a lot of it had to do with slicing and other infiltration techniques that will come in handy quite a bit later. And so she quite enjoyed her time with the pirates again, despite them leaving. I don't remember quite the situation, but it was They always take advantage, no matter what. She always leaves a little more empty-handed than she arrived. Anyway, that's what pirates for you. And then she also returned to a planet that most people wouldn't think of her to go to, but it was actually the planet Rhodia. And you may have recognized it in her illusion from the Chiss, the House of Lunac Chiss. This is the planet that she was on when the purge began. So this is where her master died. And she spent a good solid 2 weeks in the place that he died, just meditating, self-reflecting, and going over those emotions over and over and over, making sure that it was solidly in her mind what happened, how it happened, why it happened. She's trying to seek a sense of understanding and peace that the illusion may have brought to her attention that she hadn't really come to terms with yet. And lastly, she's also been trying to spend a little bit more quality time with each of her crewmates, not just Oni, but with Zora, with Creva, and especially with Summer, trying to better understand their perspective and to empathize with the traumas that they have gone through. And she's probably tried to encourage them to share with her what their experiences had been, because on Korriban, she did not have the opportunity to. She was one of the last ones to be shaken loose from the illusory grip, and it was thanks to her new friends. And she wants to be able to return that somehow.
And what is Kiala most looking forward to on Socorro? If anything.
I don't think there's anything very specific that she's looking forward to. Honestly, she's full of hope. She's full of positive energy right now. She's with very powerful, very good people that she holds in very high regard, and all of them unique in their own way. And they're finally making some headway in creating some kind of rebellion force of getting in touch with people who may join the fight with them. So she's riding on cloud 9 right now.
It's a very Dak Rattler could take on the whole empire yourself right now feeling.
Kind of something like that.
Nice. Who would like to go next?
I would like to go next.
Zora, what have you been up to in the past 6 months?
So I think after Korriban, when at the time when everyone decides to on what to do, Zora decides to go back to her home planet, Sheely. She wants to. I mean, Korriban has definitely shaken her, especially with what it brought up with her, her could have been master and her memories of what she could have done with the temple and all the what ifs. But she also wanted to kind of just check in. She's kind of went through a lot, and this was kind of her first outing ever in space. So she felt like she needed to go home, and so she went back, and she kind of reunited with Kushti, which was like the person in charge of like her crèche and like creche, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but like when she was a child, like raising them up. I mean, she's definitely like older now, but and she kind of got to oversee, or Zora tries to see like what if there's anything that still needs to be done in terms of like rebuilding, or resetting things. And I guess she kind of realized that, like, in addition with the message of what happened in her in the dream of, like, now's the time to, like, to show yourself, to show your abilities. Seeing all this and helping out with the rebuilding and retelling what she's seen in space, she's starting to realize that she kind of has what it takes. Seeing the looks on her, the community's faces on what she's been through, and um, how she's helping out with the rebuilding and with the community. um, she's never had that experience of leadership, and she realizes she's kind of doing it pretty well. So she's starting to realize that, oh, piece to what Barven and what the illusions were telling her. Um, so that's what she was going through on Sheely, and of course, she wanted to get back into her roots with her training in as a guardian. So basically, it was just a time to recenter herself. Um, so I think after that, or probably during that time, or like in addition, I was going to finish that, but I forgot to add one thing. I think all of us in Tricinia's vlogs, or like not vlogs, like when she left with us, she had like these. I think we agreed like there were like videos or something, or recordings of her, like her training and stuff like that. I'm not sure. Was it something along those lines, Jago? Like someone had a video of something about lightsabers. Oni, was that you? I keep forgetting. Maybe I'm just imagining this.
Tricinia did leave behind information on like saber techniques and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, a hologram.
Yeah. And from what I remember on that episode, we kind of like shared it, or like kind of disseminated that information. So I think with during that respite there in Sheely, she started looking into the different forms and started training on that as well. But after that, I think maybe after 3 months or so, she would return back, and would probably try to contact the Kialas sometime during that point, and kind of just talk to her about like maybe what she went through during Korriban, and kind of like, I think I'm ready to kind of learn more about the Force and using these powers. So yeah, that's basically what happened during those 6 months.
Okay. Would you say that the beginning of that training then is what Zora's most looking forward to in Sakura, or would it be something else?
There's that. There's definitely that hope of like, okay, now we're gonna get things going kind of thing. But also there's also this, as much as it was being back home, like she kind of does miss the crew and the Dark Horse. This is I think, when you're put under fire, like literally in that kind of sense, you really get close to these group of people. And I think Zora really missed them as that, in like a unit, or even a type of family. So she's kind of just looking forward to being with everyone again.
I like that. That's nice. Okay. Either Creva or Oni, who would like to go next?
I'll go next. So Oni and Creva, I think, kind of stuck together quite a bit during the 6 months of the break. And spent a lot of time working together, including on building Oni's lightsaber. And then they went to a couple of really fun planets on kind of a working holiday type of thing, which anyone who is not Oni would call fighting guerrilla warfare on 2 planets. But that's Oni. And, so the first one was Toprawa, where the Antarian Rangers are. These kind of really cool planetary special forces some of whom have force powers. And I think Creva and the Rangers just got on like a house on fire. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Sorkia.
No, that sounds about right.
And so they spend a lot of time both kind of trading knowledge back and forth, seeing what the situation on the planet was like. And when they were done there, they headed to Kreva's home planet of Ryloth. And I'll let Kreva talk a little bit more about that one.
So on Ryloth, the one of the like touristy attractions of sorts is the floating rock gardens in the Brightlands, and it was actually a place that Creva would go to meditate when she was a child before she was captured and forced into slavery. So going back there is kind of a reset, as it were, for her. It would be her first time back on Ryloth since pretty much joining the army, the Galactic Republic. And we were thinking that while we were there, we would probably, in addition to the floating gardens, we would probably end up going and working a little bit with the Free Ryloth Alliance to try and get their help in both our fight against the Empire and possibly help them with their fight against the Hutts and try and free Ryloth from the control of both Empire and Hutts.
Makes sense. Certainly, you would have absolutely made contact with resistance cells led by a Cham Sendula in order to continue the fight on Ryloth. They've basically been fighting this war since the Confederacy. First with the CIS occupation of Ryloth, and now with the Imperial oppression of Ryloth. Basically, it's been a bad, 15, 20 years for Twi'leks.
Yep.
With that said, what are the two of you most looking forward to with returning to Socorro?
Actually, I hadn't thought that far ahead.
I think Oni is looking forward to reconnecting with yet another resistance cell, one that they helped build, and share some of the things she's learned from other planets. And I think for her this is the vacation, so she's a little excited to kind of kick back with the Dark Horse crew too.
Karaoke bar.
Karaoke bar.
Karaoke bar. It's very important.
No, I think Kreva's on Socorro. When she gets back to Socorro, is going to be kind of looking more inward and doing a lot more meditation, kind of trying to feel out the Force and get more in tune with it.
Okay. Then, with that said, we open up on Socorro. You are landed in Vikaea City. The crew is back together again after a couple of side trips here and there, some that they've done independently. And this is shore leave. And again, during shore leave, you can interact with any other crew member that you want. You can drag in other crew members, NPCs. You can be in any location that you wish. Time is kind of in flux throughout this. So we're going to use this in order to either refresh or change the relationships of the crew, especially after everything that happened on Korriban. Because that probably affected a lot of stuff. So, with that said, who would like to go first? Who would you like to interact with? And where does it happen?
Do you know what time we landed?
We'll say that you have landed just past dawn. So the planet is not at its extreme heat just yet. In fact, it's the coolest that it will be. But you could just see the bright red star of Sikor rising in the east over Vikea City, casting very, very long shadows.
Because I think once we touch down, Zora would just, right before everyone splits off, because she has no idea what everyone's going to do. But she looks at the dawn and goes, well, not looking forward to the heat again, but hey, Crava, karaoke tonight?
You have to ask.
Yes, perfect. I don't know what else I would want to do, though. I'm still thinking. I just knew I wanted to confirm that.
I think Oni is going to grab the Jedi and possibly Zora and be like, Kiala, you haven't seen the Judges of the Dead. You've got to come see the Judges of the Dead. This place is amazing. Neither have you, Kali. So come on. By then, you and I know where it is. And Zora, please come. And is just going to like haul them out to get speeders to check out the Judges of the Dead.
Oh, that's right. They've never touched down here.
So the contrast between Kali and Kiala is going to be amazing. Kali is up and refreshed. She looks like she's been up for hours. She's dressed. She's very in control of herself, and she's ready to go. Kiala's still in bed. And she hasn't had a comb through her dreads in a long time. And she has dark circles in her eyes, and she's pulling the blankets over her head as Karsk is pulling them back out.
Oni is going to straight up jump on the bed and bounce up and down to bother her so that she gets out of bed.
So she'll finally roll out. It's not get up, it's roll. It is poor little Belisar. And she is just like, as literally as Ani is dragging her out, she's still like shrugging into her robes, and her slacks are just like half off her hip. She's trying to pull them up. Like,
you're going to want to take off like 3 of those layers.
Yeah, promise. You don't want that. We start taking it off. Like, no. But then I Oni, maybe she needs caffeine or something. Like,
ooh, is there good Sikoran calf? Someone here must know.
There is Sikoran calf.
But is it good?
Let's find out.
There is Sikoran calf.
If it's not good, Kiala can make it good.
Okay. Let's do that then. We'll go there first and then head to the tombs.
Yeah, but certainly within the spaceport that you've landed in Vikea City, it's picture like how an airport is now. There's certainly like shops and kiosks and things throughout it that as soon as you step out of your docking bay, people are approaching you trying to get you to try this tasty fruit. And don't you want a pastry to go with that too? And here,
pastries!
But people are plying you to buy calf and food and snacks and like touristy trap kind of items. You see a couple of people that are hawking what they call like genuine Ibhani relics and things like that, which you see a couple of Ibhani nearby kind of playing that up and laughing along at it because they think it's ridiculous.
Oh.
With
not before my morning spice. Just,
I think Zora's just laughing at seeing Kiala so like out of it.
Morning person she is not.
Probably not. But sir, you are certainly able to find calf. finding it is not hard.
Is it good though?
Whichever place has the longest line, that's the one we go to.
Yeah.
So going to that, it's a single stall run by an Itachi, who appears to be extremely particular about making this cap. You see tons of people coming away from it, both natives and smugglers, chatting happily in Olis Korelsi, that native tongue of the tribes here. You pick up a couple words that sound similar in basic to very tasty, very delicious.
Ooh.
But when it's poured for you by this person, you realize it comes out very, very thick. If you've ever had what's like cowboy coffee, where the grounds are still in the bottom of the cup, that's essentially what you're getting.
That's the best kind.
It comes black. There are no options for additives.
Is that Sorkia or Crava talking?
That is Sorkia talking.
Oh,
That is
okay.
awesome coffee.
Okay. Oni,
So-
this was a long line, but isn't this pretty thick for calf?
I'll try anything once.
That's true.
So because of the viscosity of the calf, Kiala is actually going to buy a plate of pastries, and she gets really excited because they're just covered in a pile of white powder, and she bites into one, and she goes, "Oh, it's just powdered sugar." She's like, "You guys can have it."
Zora will take it gladly and just starts chomping on it.
Did you just bring beignets into Star Wars?
Yes.
Well, you brought in
Yes.
Cafe de Mondi. The longest line.
Oni
The
is,
longest line is going to be some form of New Orleans.
Oni is going to look
Regardless,
very
dig it.
suspiciously at this pastry, but then take one and discover
Zora's
that
going
they
to
are
town on it.
delicious.
Yeah, Zora's going to town on it, and then takes a sip of the calf, and then she's just nodding and at both of these and just going,
The pastries themselves appear to be filled with some type of local cream, which is interesting considering you didn't see many domesticated animals on Socorro last time they were here. But the Ibhani swear by it. It has a slightly coconut flavor to it.
Oh. Man, we definitely missed this the first time we were here.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you were here, things were nowhere near as lively. It actually does seem that there is a more pep to Vikea than there was last time.
Yeah. Oni, it seems more like a city now, right?
Yes, it does. I've been to lots of cities, and it seems like them.
Yeah. Lively. Loud. Yes, that's what cities are. Well, I mean, we'll just compare to our last time here, right?
That's a good point. There's a lot more people in one place.
there's a lot of things going on. There's people outside and doing stuff.
I'm going to want to talk to our friends here later and see if they're making some plans to protect these folks. But in the meantime, Judges of the Dead, probably some more of this calf. It's an experience.
Well,
It's
definitely.
It's very strong. It's incredibly strong and bitter.
As
Oni's-
Kiala lifts the mug to her mouth, she's like, "Maybe it's just because of the nice weather." And you'll notice she's not sweating.
I think Zora's just kind of looking at Kiala up and down and going, You're not hot?
Well, I mean, it would be considered a nice warm day on my planet. Nashada is a lot worse. It's so humid.
Oh my
Ugh.
god. I don't know what to say to that. And then just keeps on going.
So before we depart with this trio to go to the Judges of the Dead, as it's still morning, what does morning look like for Summer and Crava aboard the Dark Horse? Do you also get dressed and get out? Do you stay aboard the ship a little bit longer? What are you two planning for the day right now?
I forgot I was muted. Summer is not a morning person. She does cuddle with Meshla, and then probably tries to talk to the holocron some more. I think some she's gotten to warm up to her a little bit. Maybe some others like I don't know how many precisely she has, but they are in her room on the Dark Horse, a bunch of them.
Do they all fit into that room?
Yes, because she
Yes.
stuck them on the walls.
That would work. Meshla at this point is you can tell very excited, especially after you touched down and dropped the docking or the boarding ramp. It appears that the little tail ring can tell that it's home, that this is where it came from, and so it's like very, very excited. It keeps churling at you, making that weird clicking purr with the back of its tongue, and it like nips at your finger gently a couple of times to like tug you. Very clearly.
All right. We'll go outside. Just give me a minute.
At that, it chirrups very happily and curls around your neck like a scarf.
I
It's
think,
like a little nuzzle to the cheek.
yeah, I think just Summer has no real particular destination, just kind of wandering around Vacaya City, maybe with like get some street meat. Just meat, alien meat on a stick. Sure. Wait, does street meat mean something else other than literally meat?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I did not know that.
I mean, it is Socorro. I'm just saying.
No, I just wanted her to get some like meat on a stick or something.
Yes. There is a local form of like kebab that would certainly suit Summer's taste.
Cool. She
Yes.
shares some of it with Meshla.
Meshla at first very greedily eats it, and then afterwards kind of like slows her chews and just kind of stays back perched on your shoulder. You can tell by her look that like it's tasty, but it's no Minoc.
I haven't had Minoc, so I wouldn't know.
You would die from eating it. It's a silicon-based life form. You literally can't digest it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, could I heal through that?
Meshla has a very particular taste.
Yeah.
And so while you're out and about after sleeping in with Meshla, what is Crava doing? How does your morning look?
Am I muted? I'm not. Okay. Kriva's actually going to be staying on the ship. She'll go to the canteen area of the ship and grab a calf. Go back to her and Oni's shared room now and get to work on a second iteration of Oni's lightsaber to see if we can kind of refine it a little bit more.
The beauty about lightsabers is there's always things to work on with them. There are some of Tresenia's texts that essentially say that they're never done being worked on. They'll evolve constantly throughout somebody using one. So there's always another power coupling on it to fix. There's a new way to align the battery that actually keeps them functioning. You can certainly mess around with like the focusing lens and there's lots to tinker with, for sure. But okay.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
So, was there anything further with that?
No, I think that's going to take up most of her time, at least in the like the first couple weeks back on Socorro.
Okay. So, then we cut back to Oni, Zora, and Kiala able to rent a speeder. A much better speeder than the first time the first two of them were here, but last time it was kind of a junker that you were just kind of desperate to have. This time it appears again that lots of the speeders that you see around have been upgraded with Imperial parts, that they have taken armor plating from them, that they've taken repulsor lifts, that they've repurposed and used here. So it does feel kind of weird that there's a bit of Imperial gray and Imperial white to a lot of things now, but you see it's been repurposed, and more to the point, you see that the local tribes of Socorro have decorated them. Ibhani and Asoyir markings cover them now, making them very, very bright and very, very colorful, and basically repurposing them. That these are not Imperial anymore. These are ours, and we will use them, and we will be very proud of doing so.
I think we head off into the desert.
So, you head out into the desert. Leaving Vikea City, you leave the protection of the shield generator above the city, which means that the heat now comes on intensely.
No.
Even though it is still morning, it is the burning hot red sun Sakor that spikes the temperature very, very quick here.
Kiala notices Oni's obvious discomfort, and she waves her over.
Mm-hmm.
And she offers her hand as to hers. Trust me.
Okay.
And she encourages a very low-level altar environment. So it's sort of a partnership between Oni's ability to use altar environment and Kiala's ability to use altar environment, and that with both of them and both of their different experiences with the same power, are able to sort of alleviate some of the heat in the immediate area surrounding the three of them.
Oh, I'm included?
No, of course. Yeah, she's
Yay!
not gonna leave you out in the
I
heat.
thought it was just between people who do alter environment, and Zora's just gonna be like, I can't do that.
No, but it's a lot easier to share the burden with something that requires such a fine touch. You know, she doesn't want to start changing the whole ecology of
Right.
the desert.
Oh, don't worry, we've done worse.
She said
better.
in character.
Yes, I did. Zora said that. For sure.
Environmentally friendly altar environment, which is not actually Kiala's forte, but she realizes that Oni might be able to that Oni's touch with altar environment would probably make up for that.
Oh, thank you. You two are the best. Whew.
I've never been able to change the temperature of the air before.
Well, looks like you've learned something new. Hey, Oni?
Yeah. This is
Are
cold.
we like in front of the
The
statues?
speeder by this point is pulling up towards the Judges of the Dead.
Cool.
The Judges of the Dead are 50-meter tall rock formations, 4 of them, that to local Socorans have been described as looking like 4 women hooded in sorrowful contemplation. Oni and Zora have probably told Kiala that according to local traditions, most Sokorans believe that those that die, their souls come to this spot to be judged before these four women before they can proceed to an afterlife. It's seen as a shrine. It's seen as a very sacred and very holy place. When you arrive here this time, you actually notice that these four statues, where before they were kind of bare, now the Z95 that was crashed here is gone. Barven's fighter just completely stripped for parts and dragged out of here. But in its place is the shrines have been decorated. Desert flowers and offerings of food and fruits, um, gifts of precious metals, golds and platinums, and even more rarer things. Offerings of spice, even left burning in some incense burners. People have come here essentially to mourn that what happened here last time did kill several of their number, all of the tribes, even the colonists. And you see things from off-world that were clearly brought here by smugglers. You see things that were clearly resembling things that you found inside the Turhaya, that colony ship that crashed here 3,000 years ago. So very ancient things, very new things. But regardless, this place is now being honored once again. This place is being seen as some place worthy of this respect, and that it is being used.
I think Oni's going to come out and she's just going to be kind of awestruck at this and go, I didn't expect this.
I think this is how it was intended to be. But now that people aren't afraid, people are coming out again.
Kiala looks, at back and forth between the two, and I'm guessing it didn't look like this before.
No.
It was bare, desolate, really. Should we pay our respects?
Yeah.
Kiala contemplates this and smiles. A sign of hope. A sign of renewal. We remember the past, but we change for the future. She kind of looks between her spice bag and one of the beignets, and she leaves the beignet.
Zora's kind of like, but does not say anything.
Oni's going to reach into her pocket and pull out a small red pebble that you might recognize as coming from Korriban that she just scooped up at some point. And is going to look kind of embarrassed at the other two and be like, I collect rocks. And then put it down in front of one of the judges.
Kiala picks up on the feelings of embarrassment, and she shakes her head and kind of waving it off and says, the first one to discover the lightsaber crystal probably collected rocks.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, probably. My home planet, there are rocks, of course, because every planet has rocks, but most of the planet is made of something different. So these are just really interesting, and I don't know, I like having them as all of the places that I've been and changed, I guess.
What does Zora leave behind?
I don't think Zora necessarily leaves anything behind, but she gets as close, whatever distance they are with the statues, she tries to get closer, but she starts to kneel down and like maybe like offer, and kind of just bows her head and folds her hands and kind of gives an offer of a sort of prayer, probably in the something along the lines of like what a guardian of the will would say, like something that that they are all part of the force now, and that all their strength, their heart, were as strong as the kyber crystals themselves. Um, and so she just has a moment of silence out of respect to those who have fallen.
As you are finishing paying your respects, um, the three of you notice a Bahar Hulai caravan that appears to be moving through this area as well. Aboard their strange kind of lizard-looking mounts that are horse-like but not horses, but they probably call them horses. The Bahar Hulai approach. When they do, they greet you in Oles Karilsi. When they notice that none of you speak it, they switch quickly to basic instead, and explain that they have returned to this place because one of the members of their clan had recently passed, and they came here to send the soul away. But with the three of you being there, they ask, "Would you like to be part of the ceremony? All are family on this planet."
Yeah.
We do not want to intrude, but um, if it's all right, we would be privileged to. Did you want to join us, Kiala?
It would be an honor.
The matron of this caravan steps forward, takes each of your hands and holds them tight, and says, "Then we welcome you as sisters." And they proceed with the ceremony, which is a very quiet affair at first, but after a couple of prayers, a couple of rites, they manage to set flowers around one of the judges of the dead and then set them on fire. As the smoke rises, they actually strike up music. They begin singing. They begin dancing. They pull you into a ring with them to do so. It goes from a mournful thing into a celebration of this person's life, this person that you never knew, but it's very clear that they hold deep adoration and respect for.
I think maybe in the middle of dancing, or like Zora takes a break and goes to the person who uh invited all three of them and ask, um well, you've been very kind to invite us and we were honored, but may I ask who this person was?
Um, she nods and says that it was my husband. Whereas before he once led our clan, now I do so. It seemed proper that we gather our own tribe and come and do this first. Natural causes. He lived a very good long life, and both of us were quite happy with everything that we've had. And then she kind of stops for a moment. She looks at you. She reaches forward. She cups your face very softly, and she says, "You were here before."
Yes, not too long ago. It's one of the reasons why I asked. I'm glad it was with the circumstances. I'm glad it was of natural causes, but we came at a time when Socorro wasn't safe.
She reaches her other hand out. She cups both of your cheeks. She touches her brow to yours and says, "Sister, he died knowing a free planet because of you. We may not know each other, but you and your own have given us a gift for which we have no return. I thank you."
Zora is just like kind of shaking her head and almost near tears because like freeing a planet should be something natural. It shouldn't be no planet should be enslaved like that. And I think she tries to tell her this, that it's like, no, this was the thing to to do. You have no reason to thank us.
She steps back, kind of very softly touches your chin to get you to look up, to get you to stand a little taller. And she says, "When something is unnatural, setting it right is natural, even if it feels forced. You are correct that we should not have had to have done this. But we have to, and we must, and we will."
I think Zora cups the hands of that wife and she says, "Mother, we will continue to do so."
So will we, sister. So will we. Now come. This is not a time for mourning.
At which point,
And
Oni is coming over, surrounded by a gaggle of small children. And she's just going to like usher the small children and be like, "That one, she also doesn't know the dances. You have to teach her to." And Zora is going
dancing?
to be mobbed by children eager to show her how to dance correctly.
Ah! And you just see like this wave of like little humanoid or creatures and like Zora being taken away, like a wave towards the dance area.
Mm-hmm.
And as that happens, any final thoughts from Kiala and Oni as you view this scene of just such life and joy, where for Oni, at the very least, the last time you were here, this was a place of failure and suffering.
Kiala is actually standing back, uncharacteristic for her. She's not joining in the dancing and festivities directly, but quite happily observing. She did not get to see or experience the change of Socorro. She wasn't here before, but she can feel all of the gratitude and joy and indescribable positivity that it brings to Zora and to Oni and to this grieving family, that there's even kind of a sense of relief in the ability to grieve. They can grieve properly, in a healthy way. And she just wants to observe this and sort of take it all in, especially from Zora and Oni's perspective.
And what is Oni's closing perspective?
I think Oni is totally in this, and it's a type of sisterhood she hasn't felt in a very, very long time. And she's dancing and laughing and crying and being free in a way that I think folks on the ship haven't seen her be. And like doing the little flower girl dance where the flower girl is standing on your feet and you step back and forth and just like. And I think she looks totally happy until she looks over at Kiala and you see a moment of sadness cross her face. But then the little kid like pulls on her arm and she has to go back into it.
And the camera pans away at that point over the Jedi Knight watching this scene of joyousness, of reunion, of grief. Yes, and perhaps pain and sorrow, but also, as was described, relief, a sense of pride, a sense of being able to have these moments again in a galaxy that has stolen these moments from so many others. Socorro would not be like this if it were not for the Dark Horse. We come back over towards the docking bay, where the Dark Horse sits. Summer, where are you at the moment? I believe you're on mute.
Fuck. Honestly, I know Zora and Oni and Kiala went off somewhere. I'm just kind of waiting around for them because I wanted to show Zora specifically something.
While you're waiting, because the trip in and out does take quite a bit.
Yeah.
Are you on the ship?
Nearby.
Nearby?
Yeah.
You feel a tap on your shoulder.
I look and see who it is.
It is Kali.
Hi, can I help you?
I said I would know you. Do you have the time?
Oh, yeah. Let me just put Meshla back inside. Wouldn't want her to get in the way of a spare saber stroke. Yeah, no, totally. We can totally do this.
She holds up a hand and says, "No, no sabers."
Okay, what do you mean then?
Our bodies alone are weapons enough. The way that you speak with a fist is far more important than you speak with a weapon.
Okay. That works for me.
She nods, and you actually see a small smile. She says, "I'm glad it does. I was worried."
Probably we should go to an area that's less crowded with stuff, though.
She thinks about it for a moment and says, "Would the desert be too difficult?"
No, desert would be great.
She nods at that point and says that that is good because your opponents would not care if it were difficult either.
No, I don't suppose they did.
And so you go and return Meshla. The two
Uh-huh.
of you then depart into the sands of Socorro, the scorched, blackened sands. You don't go very far from Vikea before you find an area that's completely separate from the city and
Yeah.
seems to be away from most of the traffic.
Mm.
As you do so, in Ichani tradition, it's Kali turns and faces Summer and says that the tradition amongst my people is to do this disrobed. Modesty has no place in combat.
Okay. And Summer will disrobe.
And she does the same. And it's very clear again that like she really is just like shameless in this. This is very much like this is traditional amongst my culture and my people, and it has no other purpose or reason beyond that.
It's a little bit awkward for Summer, but as far as I know, there's nobody else around here. And if there is, they're going to be shot with fucking lightning.
With that, you can already see again. It's hot. It's warm here. The sun is very much making these sands almost intolerable in temperature. But Kali drops into a very relaxed stance, raises her hands, and she just asks, "Are you ready?"
Summer will drop into her own low stance and say, I'm ready.
She charges immediately. The moment you say that you are ready, she is a relentless force at that point.
Oh, hell yeah. Summer is absolutely relentless back. I think a bit between like actively trying to do like bare knuckle boxing type shit and a little bit trying to use Kali's momentum against her and trying to do like a mixture between like judo flips and just straight up fucking suplexes.
That appears to suit Kali just fine because the Achani martial art in this case is very fluid. She does everything she can to escape your grapples. She does everything she can to use your own momentum against you. If you go in hard,
Oh yeah.
she's very quick at being able to adapt to that, let you slide by. But it is clear that you are stronger than her physically.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of times where she thinks that she has a block and she doesn't. And you see that she takes a couple of shots here and there, but she just keeps going. Nothing really close.
I'm sure she's fast though.
She
and
is.
Also like she's short, right?
She is shorter, yes. Especially than Summer. She's definitely shorter.
Yeah. A lot of people are shorter than Summer, but like, is she like shorter than Oni?
I believe yes. I believe she's
okay. She's probably got some good leverage too. Then.
Yes. But Kali is still quick. She is still very adaptable, and it's very clear she's a very trained and disciplined fighter. But with that, again, it's she doesn't let up. She doesn't hold back. How does the duel end?
I think both of them are just very sweaty and exhausted, and at a certain point Summer is like, so have you gotten a good picture of me yet, or do we need to go a couple more rounds?
She breaks for a moment, and then you can see she's panting, she's heaving too. She's showing lots of signs of exertion at that point. And though her mouth is very dry from doing all of this in the hot Socoran desert, she nods and says, I think I have a very good image. You are.
Okay, cool. And Summer will just fall onto her back.
And Kali at that point drops like all semblance of being this martial artist, this warrior, and kind of like rushes over with her robe, throws it over top of you to try and shield you from the worst of the
I'm fine. I need a second. I'm fine.
Of course, and she runs back to the speeder and procures a water in a canteen and sprints back with that to give it to you.
That'd be great. Yeah. So what did you think? What sort of picture of me did you get?
You are driven, that much is to be sure. I do believe that once you set your mind to something, you are not easily swayed, like a charging act dog, in a good way. I do think that perhaps there is some favor of your physique and strength over certain other aspects, but you use what is known to you. And if you know yourself and your body, what better weapon could be shaped? With that, though, you did not hurt me, and I do not think that was lack for trying. So you respect me as an opponent. And I respect you as an opponent as well. So I would say that I guess that makes us friends.
I suppose so.
She stops for a long, awkward moment, then asks, can you get to the speeder, or should I carry you?
No, I can get to the speeder. I'm fine. I just needed a second. And Summer is just gonna like kind of hastily pull her cloak back
on. Kali does the same, but it's not hasty. Again, she doesn't care at that point. It has nothing to do with that for her.
Just brush some sand off.
But with that, as the two of you go back to the speeder, she looks over and she says, thank you, Summer. This is not something that I think many people would understand. but I knew that you would.
I
She stops.
certainly tried my best.
She pauses, and then after a moment of reflection goes, "Did you learn anything about me?"
Hmm. You certainly put up a hard fight. There's respect for that. Clever. In some ways I anticipated, in others not so. That move where you got my leg, that was pretty good.
I can teach it to you if you wish.
Maybe later. I need to get more of this water back at the ship. Strength, but also calm.
Part of that is my nature. Ichani are not encouraged to be wild, but part of that is also the teachings that I was raised with. For what it's worth, how I am and the Jedi Order melded together very well. It gave me a place where I could understand and better process my feelings in an environment that I understood and was healthy for me. I understand that it is not healthy for everyone, though.
Yeah. I rather like my feelings a lot. No, nothing against you. It's just a complicated thing.
She nods vigorously and says, "Feelings are very complicated. Look at Stalks."
Yeah, look at her, look at me, look at Oni. Fuck, look at Zora and Crava too.
Well, yes, indeed, all of them, but Stalks was taught like me. We're both Jedi. But Knight Yivaro has been very sad for a long time. And I feel like only recently she has been able to address that. But I don't think that I've addressed that. And I don't think that Barvan has addressed that either. It's interesting that the one who allowed herself to feel so much during our training, I think, walked away from some of that after everything, and only just now is returning to it. But it was never from a perspective that I could interact with. I've been like this before. I was like this during. I'm like this now. Kiala was not. My friend was not. She, and like her voice kind of swells a little bit. Her eyes get a little brighter. She says, she grew.
Well, that's good.
Emotions are difficult for us, not because we think that they're wrong, but because we aren't often taught how to address some of them. Dealing with what happened. We have no basis for it. There's nothing within the order that could have ever prepared us for it. Not to say that there's anything that could have prepared you or any of the others.
No. One day I was just one of 13 siblings, and then the next there were giant white triangles over my planet and people pointing guns at my family.
I feel that story is replicated many times I feel it is time that we end that story.
Yeah.
You are a strong warrior, Summer. I'm glad that we're fighting together.
I'm glad that we're fighting together too.
She stops for a moment, looks off into the desert, and then looks back towards the city and says, I suppose a scrubber is in order.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
And she hops into the speeder at that point and lets you take the wheel.
Yeah.
And back to Sakura. Or Vikea. You're on Sakura. It's a planet.
Yeah.
You can't leave it in a speeder.
Summer could try. Just be like, okay, I'll just lean off the end and then kick down really, really hard.
So, you all make it back to Vikea. Just in time with the other trio returning from the morning ceremony and the Judges of the Dead. And let's focus briefly on Creva before we take our break here. Creva, there's been a lot of activity that's been going around. Have you been working on the saber the whole time? And if so, what else has been going on?
Pretty much. When Craig was working on something, specifically a weapon of any kind, she kind of goes into like a little meditative state and just keeps going, and hours will pass. It'll feel like minutes for her.
Recognizing this, as you've been consumed in your work, you've noticed that the parts and tools that you've needed have just kind of appeared on the workbench almost as you've needed them. You haven't had to get up or move for much. Both Sparky and Beat have been watching you very curiously throughout this entire time and apparently have been coordinating together. Sparky familiar with the construction of a lightsaber and what exactly goes into this, so kind of directing Beat on like, oh, he needs the fusion cutters now, oh, we need to go get her a different Hydra spanner or what have you. So they've been silent for Astromech, but they have stayed very loyally by your side, very curious about this endeavor you're doing.
Funny little droids.
Sparky takes that with pride. Beat warbles, who you calling funny?
Relax. It's not like I'm gonna melt you down.
Beat warbles even more sadly and goes, I was almost melted on this planet.
Well, you weren't. And we brought you back. It's not gonna happen again, I don't think. Don't go falling into any volcanoes. Or making Oni mad.
In a very stereotypical R5, very dour droid line fashion, Beat kind of wobbles his way out of the engineering bay that you're working in, and basically says the equivalent of, "Well, don't go to planets that have volcanoes."
Got it. Stay out of the Mustafar system.
Sparky wheels up next to you, turns their dome, and chirps out, "We're going to planets with volcanoes, yes."
Don't kill the other droid.
Sparky like wails offensiveness, or like how dare you accuse me of such a horrendous act.
I know what you're thinking. Those circuits don't lie.
Sparky also now kind of wobbles on two legs away, kicks down their third wheel, and begins wheeling out, going, "Stop looking in through my chassis like that, then." But Sparky does leave you with the last tool that you need, at the very least, to complete your reworking of the saber. It's very clear that droids are messing with you. They are not actually upset.
Yeah,
They
I
have
figured.
quite a bit of sense of humor.
For droids.
For droids. So, with that said, I think this is a perfect time for break as everyone reconvenes back on the ship, and we will get to more scenes as a group together afterwards. So, before we go and head towards our break, we do want to give a huge shout out to our patrons. Every patron who donates more than $10 a month does get a special thank you from us here for being part of our VIP club, our host with the most tier. But all of our patrons overall are just, you folks make the channel possible. Without you, we wouldn't be able to continue platforming amazing games, amazing players. It's wondrous that we are allowed to do this. And with your support, we will continue to do so. So to our VIP Circle Patreon supporters, thank you from all of us here at Welcome to the Party. To Jack C, Nerdy T, Michelle E, Abigator, Anino, and Andy T. Well, we are going to go ahead and take a short break here. As we do so, why don't you go ahead to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Go ahead and sign up for that free Roll20 account today. Get yourself started on playing some games just like we do. We will be back in roughly 10 minutes. So until then, resist, reclaim, rebel.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot, your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware, it's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hyperdrive, the first Ember. We return now to shore leave on Socorro, where the team is restoring their relationships with one another in order to continue using those against the Empire. With that, I will turn everything back over towards the crew to begin interacting with each other once again.
Hey, Zora, I know you just went to go see a thing, but do you want to come see another thing?
Damn it, mute. Yeah, I'd love to see a thing. What
Yes,
do you have
let's
in
walk
mind?
and talk this way.
Okay, and just starts walking with Summer.
So, you know how you, like, are one of the few people who's, like, actually listened to me and stuff?
Well, I don't know what you kind of mean by that, but
Well,
yeah.
like actually listened to and seemed to respect my philosophy and stuff.
I think we all do, Summer, in our way.
It doesn't feel like it otherwise.
Oh.
But
Well,
that's beside the point. That's beside the point. That's not. Look, I would say like you were learning stuff from me, but I also learned some stuff from you.
really?
Yeah. No. Just come this way. Okay. I think this is where the building is, and we are out front of the Tenloss Corporation. And I'm gonna
Back
say, okay.
here?
No. Just trust me. Just trust me. Okay, so you know how you're like really cool and acrobatic and flippy and shit?
Oh, thanks, but I guess, yeah.
Watch this, and I will use Art of Movement plus Enhance to run up the side of the building, all the way up to Pravic's office. Yell, try and like absolutely scare the shit out of him if he's up there by going, "Hey, Pravic," and then just doing a superhero landing on the way back down.
Oh, Panther fodder! That is awesome, Summer!
Yeah, I figured out how to do that on Kashyyyk.
Oh my, what? That's amazing. I don't see anyone really using that.
Yeah.
Oh, we could do so many fun, flippy movie things together.
Yeah, I'm not like normally that fast. It's more of like just pure strength for me. But like, yeah, you also inspired a thing. Yeah, I can words sometimes.
No, you're great. I totally get it. No, I feel so honored that yeah, I wouldn't expect someone like you to learn from something from me. So this is great.
I mean, like, you know, you came along for the ride. And like, you know, you're the only one, like, you know, kind of besides Oni, who's like leaned into like feeling your feels and using them to power your force shit. Like, I've seen your fucking explosions. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, it kind of took me by surprise when I learned that, but um it's definitely been helpful along the way. But wow. So, well, I mean, well, more than that, I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since. I mean, with Korriban and your relationship with that, are you okay?
Define okay.
Well,
Am I physically healed? For the most part, as far as I can tell, yeah.
well, what about mentally, emotionally?
I know not to let my emotions overcome me. I use them, they do not use me. Honestly, what's been more frustrating is the fact that those damn fucking pyramids haven't given me all their fucking secrets yet.
And like, I think Zora just kind of starts rubbing her hands in remembrance of being burned from touching them or
I mean,
attempting
hey,
to.
if if you like try and like tap into your feelings more, maybe they won't do that.
Which feelings do they want, though? That's the question.
I'm trying slowly to get them to realize that it doesn't have to be just for lack of a better word, base feelings, not just anger and lust. They're like love
Mm,
is important too.
love is the most passionate, I think,
Yeah.
or can be. Were you able to open or
I
glean any
mean,
info from
I
them?
talked to some of them a little bit. I can do, lightning a little bit more reliably now, and I'll just, do some sparks between my fingers.
Whoa,
Yeah. We
that's
can do
pretty
fire
cool.
and lightning.
We're gonna be unstoppable, yeah?
Hell fucking yeah, we are.
Well, I'm glad that you're more or less okay after all that.
I am okay as I ever have been.
I think that's all we can ask for. But thanks for showing me that, Summer. That was great.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
think
glad you liked it.
I like, hold on. I thought that was kind of cool. And then and then Zora starts doing art of movement, goes up and then tries to scare the shit out of him too, just because.
Yes.
And
yes,
then just goes back
good.
down.
We cut to the office where Pravik is already like clutching a heart from the first time that footsteps were like pounding up the transparent plasteel. And Boxty, B0XT, his little prowler droid that was whirling around, is like desperately injecting him with tranquilizers to try and get his heart down. And so it's finally starting to work. He's finally starting to recover. Everything's fine. And then once again, we hear as Zora comes up and slaps the window.
She's just going like, and then just goes back down.
And Pravik just falls over at that point with poor Boxy Bee doing the high-pitched like and just losing its mind over what is happening outside.
Like, how many fucking floors does that building have?
A lot. Enough.
Height
Enough for that is
to
not
us.
expected. So Pravik is fine. Boxty clearly calls in a medical team that rushes in to make sure that he's all right. But the two of you certainly give him quite a scare.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Who is next? Who wants to interact with someone or something next? It was a fun scene. I like that one.
Well, I want to check in on the resistance cell here.
Absolutely. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Do you take anyone with you?
Hey, Crava, want to come check in on the resistance cell here?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, I take Crava. Anyone else want to come along?
Where is this?
Up at the old ship, probably?
Yes, the main resistance cell on Socorro would be within Bahar Hulai territory at this point.
Oh, if it's with the ship, I think Zora would like to go to tag along just because she kind of wants to like look at parts.
Would Summer and Kiala like to accompany, or are they occupied with other things?
Kiala's not going to join on this one. This one seems like it's more relevant to the current characters, and Kiala has something else to do.
Interesting. And Summer?
I think Summer's had a lot of a day so far. I think that's a lot of excitement for right now.
Instead of taking a land speeder, you're able to procure use of an air speeder to skim across the skies of Socorro to the northern pole, greatly reducing the time needed for the trip. You'll remember that last time you were here, you were not able to do this, as the Empire would have shot you down out of the sky the moment you took off. You make your way up to the northern canyons and ravines that make up Socorro's pole. Protruding from it, you can of course see the crashed hulk of a massive colony ship that is still dilapidated, covered in rust, and clearly weathered from sand blasting against it for 3,000 years, as the original ship that brought people to this once uninhabited rock in the middle of nowhere. And it is from here that the local tribes of Socorro spread out. This is Bahar Hulai territory. Originally, they were among the most isolationist of the clans. They were amongst the most warlike of the clans. They didn't really get along with or agree with anyone. Not initially. As the airspeeder sets down now, however, you see that there are clearly members of all different tribes and clans here. Their facial markings and the clothing that they wear marks them as not being of the Bahar Hulai, being of the Epani or the Isildir. On top of that, you see off-worlders also here as well. You see a couple of people wearing Corellian blood stripes on their pants, helping fix up reactors. You see others that are bringing in supplies and equipment, fuel cells, Tabana gas for blasters, weaponry, machinery, parts, medical supplies, food, everything that they might need. It's clear that after your last intervention here, trade has kind of opened up. The Bahar Hulai have at the very least opened up their borders enough to realize that if we try and fight this alone, we're not going to win. So the intermingling of their ways and the colonists' ways is leading towards a rather efficient command center. And in the center of that command center outside, you see the two women that you spoke to last time leading this. Wyron Zur Frikris, the Zabrak daughter of poor Pravik Zur, who was having a heart attack last time we saw him, as well as Karis Frikris, a human woman, and the wife of Wyron, and currently the clan mother of the Bahar Hulai. Upon seeing the three of you touch down, both of them rush over as if greeting old friends. Karis throws her arms around Oni, and Wyron comes over and like playfully punches Zora and Krava in the arm, greeting them with camaraderie and with just joy in heart. And Karis steps back with "You're back so soon."
I couldn't think of any other place that I'd rather come. This is amazing. Show me everything. Like, this is incredible.
Of course, please. There has been many changes since last you were here. This way, I can take you into our forward operations base.
You have a forward operations base? And then he's going to turn around and be like, they have a forward operations base. We need a forward operations base, fam.
The forward operations base.
I don't know, but we need one.
Wyron grins, showing off very sharp Zabraki carnivorous teeth. And she says, "Oh yes, this one made sure that what we had here last time, she took your advice. We have cells like this spread all throughout Socorro, as well as buried beneath the ground in certain locations. Even if the Empire comes here again and threatens to glass this world, we will rise above whatever they leave behind."
I am relieved to hear that, sister. You have no idea.
She reaches out. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And just she reaches out. She like claps your forearm with her hand as tightly as she possibly can, and she says, "They will not take us unprepared like they have elsewhere."
Show me what you've got with any luck. We were just on Ryloth. The Empire. You had food. I'm so relieved. You would not believe what they're doing on Ryloth. Show me everything. Show me absolutely everything.
"Of course, this way, sister," Kara says, and leads the three of you towards the northern end of the Terhaya. You see that the main bridge of the Terhaya appears to have been restored. With that, they have access to very powerful communications devices, very powerful sensors, and they're using the majority of that to help direct efforts all throughout Socorro. And you notice with certain local star systems as well, they're branching out beyond just the planet. In front of the Terhaya is landed the Irascible Nymph, the starship of Traveler Sadwi Jul, the Ibhani Duro that you met last time that you were here, and also a member of the Black Balir, the smugglers group that operates out of Socorro. You see Sadwi outside of her ship, having cargo offloaded and more supplies loaded back on again, the ramp ascending to load the ship up for wherever it is that it's going.
What are you sending out? Where's it going? What? Yeah.
Karis grins at your noticeable excitement. And explains that for the most part, what we've been sending out from here are precious minerals. We've found a couple of contacts through the Black Balir that are able to take those and refine them into power cells. We trade the power cells for food. We bring the food back to here so that way we can increase our stores. Socorro just doesn't have enough agriculture or food production to sustain what we need. But this way we are able to bring in more, preserve it, and make sure that all of our bases on the planet can withstand any sort of lasting bombardment. It also allows us to establish relationships with some of the local star systems. We have at least 2 others that have pledged to defend Socorro in a mutual pact if the Empire is ever to come back here.
And have you been helping them set up similar networks? Do they already have them?
Wyron steps in with, they are certainly new at this, but I suppose with our leadership so far, they've been able to establish their own cells. They don't seem to be quite ready for armed insurrection, however. They think that they can participate just by providing supplies, which of course we can certainly use. I would much rather people willing to carry a blaster are the ones that got one.
Well,
that's definitely the case.
Yeah, let's hope that those blasters are enough to serve both you and them. But
I'm wondering if you can show us those power cells or those that energy you've been exporting. That sounds really interesting.
Certainly, right this way, Kara says.
the entire way, Oni is just peppering with questions like, do you have projections for what percentage of the population can you get under shelter? How much ammunition do you have? What scenarios have you been planning for in terms of ground versus air invasions? Just like boom, boom, boom the entire way.
They say that currently projections show that they can reliably protect upwards of 60 to 65% of the population in the event of Delta Base Zero. Their greatest worry is mass orbital bombardment designed to kill the planet. They're saying that anything short of that, they can reliably protect up to 90% of the population quite easily.
That's incredible.
They said part of that is actually due to the Tenloss Corporation. Wyron explains that Pravik has helped expand the underground tunnels of the Chaos City and has got them to link up with other bases that they've established otherwise. The entire city, in the event of orbital bombardment, can be evacuated in less than 3 hours.
I think Oni's going to turn to Crava and grab her hand and be like, we've got to get a map of that and share that with Ryloth. This is incredible. We've got to teach them how to get people out that quickly.
If we were to share this with Ryloth, all it would do would fall into the hands of the Hutts, and they would use it for their own smuggling.
Huh. Looks like Daddy's been helping out a bit, huh?
Wyron scoffs, and she says that he does what he believes he needs to in order to make sure that I have some sort of a relationship with him again. So far, it's working. For my benefit, at least.
Zora just laughs.
Honestly, it is perhaps the best response I could have expected out of him. I honestly expected him to cut tail and run, go to some other planet, set up some other little scheme. But he has decided to stay here. He didn't decide to stay on Iridonia. That says a lot.
I think Zora puts a hand on their shoulder and goes, well, your father is an interesting man, to say the least, but he is your father. It's good to know that he's still showing that he cares, especially during these times.
It is hard to forgive the fact that he abandoned our people and our homeworld in its most desperate hour. But it would be wrong of me to not acknowledge that he is trying to make up for that. There is some things I have been forced to come to grips with as well. Zabraki honor is one thing, but when you look at the graves that the Empire has left behind, I don't think any of those ghosts give a damn about honor.
Zora just shakes her head. Zora just shakes her head and goes, no, I too know what it's like to regret some of the past actions that one has taken, but so I think I've started to admire people who do what needs to be, who tries to change what they do in the present and moving forward. So I'm glad that you are recognizing what your father is doing now.
We all do our part. It's the most that we can ask from anyone. But I am not here to open old wounds. Come, see what we do now in the present. And she leads you over to the power cells in question. She greets Sadwi Jewel. Once again, they clasp very tightly. And with that, she gets permission from Sadwi to open one of the containers. They give it. And in doing so, they pull out a cryogenic power cell. These are known throughout the Star Wars galaxy as basically like, you need these for most heavy machinery. Starships need these. Air speeders need these. Any type of bigger vehicle or what have you. Without these, they don't really work.
How big are they?
These are smaller ones, and even a smaller one is about like the size of my Coke can. Bigger ones, like the Dark Horse has, are like massive at that point. Oni would be very familiar with them. They constantly need attention to make sure they don't overload and destroy the reactor.
But the ones here are the compact versions?
They're compact. These are compact at the very least.
Okay. Wow, they're so compact.
Skimmers.
Ah.
We we have found that we do not exactly have the war material right now to stand up to the Empire or any sort of larger vehicles. We don't have the ability to repair them as easily if they are to be damaged. But we have been able to convert certain types of mining speeders into weapons platforms. Mining lasers are quite effective against Dura steel, we have found. They're not exactly mobile, but they're easy for us to work with. And that right now is much more important.
That's interesting. Do you guys have any of the diodes from any of these mining lasers just laying around that I can possibly steal?
What do you need a diode from a mining laser for?
Reasons.
Okay, you'd be cryptic like that. And Oni's going to hit bunk Creva just a little bit.
Karis says, we can certainly make sure that you receive one. And she calls out to two passing soldiers. They actually give a salute, which is a bit formal for the Bahar Halai. That's not really what you saw here last time. And she instructs them in Olis Karelsi to go get you what you need. And they do.
Oh, well, thank you. This ought to be fun.
And Karis continues the explanation of we've actually made contact with certain resistance cells on Subterro, which is near Polis Massa. They are also a mining colony, and they have been able to provide us with things such as mining lasers and industrial equipment. It doesn't look as suspicious moving that as it would moving war material. We're able to take it, bring it here, convert what we need, salvage the rest, and then send the rest out towards other planets that need it. Now, you said Rylith would benefit from some of this?
If we can figure out a way to get it through or past the huts without them taking everything that would be useful, yeah.
Sadwi overhears this and turns, and even though the Duro doesn't really have a very expressionful face, they have very flat features, you think you see a slight grin as Sadwi says, you leave the huts to us.
If you can get these back to the Free Ryloth movement on Ryloth Prime, I don't think that there's anything else that they would need.
We can provide contacts and a landing code if need be. I'm not sure for how much longer, but if you can make contact in the next month or two, that might get you in the door at least.
Sadwi, Wyron, and Karis confer rapidly in Olis Karelsi. And after doing so, Sadwi turns and says, get me the names, and we will make it so.
Done.
Is there anything in return that they could perhaps provide for our movement here?
That's a good question, because Rill is kind of the only thing on that rock now.
Sadwi holds up a finger and says, Rill can be used to dull pain. It's not exactly medicine, but it can allow us to alleviate some of the suffering. It's enough to allow us to keep fighting.
Well, that sounds useful. Better than Illobark, that's for sure.
Karis does mention that medical supplies have been one of the hardest things for us to come by. Bacta is very strictly controlled, and we have access to very little else.
Well, I mean, if Rill will help, then yeah, that'd be a perfect trade then, almost.
Byron thinks about it for a moment and says, perhaps we should spend some time drafting up a proposal then. We want to make sure that the Rylith understands exactly what we'll be sending them and what we expect in return.
That sounds reasonable, yeah.
This way, if you please. And they take you into the Terhaya in order to begin drafting that up, working with you to coordinate now these two individual resistance cells able to open up a network of trade. which so far is kind of difficult to do. The Sokorans do let you know that they had made contact with a few other resistance cells that they were made aware of. Two of them went dark within about the first month. The other four still seem to be doing somewhat strong, but they are not as strong as the Sokoran position. It seems after the incident that you pulled into making the Empire think that this area is actually deadly to their ships to be here for extended periods of time, they seem to be avoiding it. So it does make Socorro slightly safer to carry out operations from. Karis and Wyron are both concerned, however, that if they put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, that's not going to pan out well. They don't have the manpower, or they don't have the firepower or the material. If the Empire comes back in force, they will lose. They fully admit they can't fight. They can hold out, they can delay, they can sabotage and make the Empire pay for any sort of occupation it tries, but they will lose in a stand-up fight every single time.
Unfortunately, that's probably the way it's going to be for a little while. Our goal is to keep building more and more of those local connections if we can do it safely, and that way you won't be fighting alone.
Karis understands. Wyron growls.
I'm doing the best I can, Wyron.
It's not about you. I just prefer a more stand-up fight to all of this sneaking around.
Sometimes sneaking around is the best way to fight.
She thinks of something to say, realizes that it would come off very wrong, and then just nods diplomatically. And only says that clearly Zabrax and Twi'leks have very different opinions on this matter.
Yeah.
I would say a stand-up fight is worth it when the odds are even.
True, when the odds are even. But if they're not even, and if they're against you, then take to the shadows and attack from there.
Zora in the background is just like, kind of agree on Crava with this one. Whatever she's up to.
Wyron chuckles, and she like pats her shoulder in a friendly manner, Crava, saying, let's hope that the shadowy part lasts very, very shortly then. I'll feel much happier when I can actually be facing the Empire one-on-one. Karis gives her like the simmer down, please.
Oni looks very thoughtful for a moment but doesn't actually say anything.
Is there anything more that we would like to go over here on the Turhaya, or can we shift the scene elsewhere?
We can shift.
Nope,
Shift.
more of the same, just learning,
Okay.
building.
Yep. So they spread news, they explain what they're doing, and you see that their operation is. The last bit of advice is that it's very clear that the success of the Sokoran operation is almost entirely the Black Balir. The fact that they have access to a smuggling network, a reliable source of cargo movement, that they can get supplies, personnel, and medicine where it needs to be, is speaking volumes as opposed to anything else. Most of the other resistance cells that they've been describing don't have that. And because of it, they're very isolated, they're very cut off, and if they run out of supplies or they run out of personnel, they're just destroyed.
Oni's going to look at Wyron again, but still not say anything.
Interesting. Okay, we shift the scene back towards Kiala. Where are you?
So Kiala's back on the ship, and she's seated at the comms panel, searching through White's subspace noise, essentially. But there's a certain intensity in which she's doing it, almost an obsession. Anybody's welcome to walk in, but Kali is standing nearby watching her. And after a while, she says, Stalks, what are you doing? And without so much as breaking away or slowing the speed of her fingers across the keys, she simply explains, I'm searching for hidden messages. The subspace noise might be concealing some from other resistance cells that we might be able to get in contact with. And Kali kind of nods, this makes logical sense. But it's Kiala. And so she kind of peers over her shoulder and she says, you're searching a very particular part of space, I see, a very particular system. And Kiala kind of grunts and she says, is it Eridonia? Her hands pause. And she quickly closes the screen. But she doesn't turn to look at Kali. And she says, you're still looking for him, aren't you? Kiala just kind of shrugs.
Who are you looking for? Who's him?
Did Summer walk in? Is this in character?
Yeah.
And this causes Kiala to turn around. And she looks at Kali, and Kali just kind of, it's your story. And Kiala's, remembers her promise, no secrets. She says, someone I met only once, and I don't even have his name. It was It was the day after the purge. Or maybe it was 2 days. It's hard to remember. But it's not particularly important. We never spoke a word to each other. We tried to kill each other. And then we didn't. And I had an inexplicable connection with him, even though I never saw him again, and I could feel him through the Force. But one day that connection faded. I don't even know if he'd be on our side, but I thought with us having transmitted our message across subspace, maybe he would have tried to reach out. Kali just kind of shakes her head, clearly disapproving. He tried to kill you.
I mean, there are worse starts to a romance story.
I don't think that's going to be our story, Summer. But
Why
I would
not?
have different lives, different paths.
Yeah, but at least I try to enjoy things while they last. Even if I'd wish they'd lasted longer.
Truer words. I suppose you have all of us, Summer, could understand where I was coming from.
Let me try looking. And I will try at the panel and see if I get anything.
I don't have any information on him, only that he was Eridonian.
What did he look like?
Large, dark-skinned. He had no hair, just the horns, a crown of them on his head. He kept them filed down. He had Giotto, but no other distinguishable markings.
So that's what did it for you, I see.
Oh, come on, Summer.
What? The opportunity to tease a Jedi comes up so rarely these days.
It was a very dark moment for me. It was the closest I ever came to falling.
Falling in love or to the dark side?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I mean, hey, the dark side is not that bad.
As I said, different paths. I think his line of thinking was more in line with yours.
Hey, all the better. I don't know if you don't want him. Well, I don't know. I'd have to see him.
Kali gets a very curious look across her face at that point and says, "You did not mention that last bit, sister."
I didn't want you to judge me.
She looks wounded at that point, and she immediately rushes forward, places a gentle hand on your shoulder, and says, "Stalks, you never judged me."
Your admiration and your respect means a lot more to me than I let on. I guess I just didn't want to spoil that even a little bit, or risk it, but I should have known better.
She gets a sly smile on her face and says, "Stalks, don't you think you risked most of that back at the training in the academy?"
Oh, she gets a very big pout on her face.
she, she laughs with you, and she pulls you close. She hugs you, and she says, "I'm glad I know now. And no, Kiala, I would never judge you." And then she pulls back and she looks at you very hard with those very ice blue eyes and says, "Even if you had, I would not judge you."
And I certainly can't judge you, certainly not for liking Zabrax.
Kiala laughs and she waves Summer, pulling her close so that she can hug both of them at the same time.
Summer is not used to hugs, but is warm.
I appreciate it, Summer. Had it not been for you, maybe I'd still have a little bit more weight on my chest. Come on, we can search another time. We still have plenty of time. Let's go have some fun.
I mean, there's all sorts of ways to have fun, you know, like fucking I'm getting your fucking names mixed up. Kali and I had fun this morning. Out of character, I did phrase it that way to fuck with Kiala.
Oh, no. Kali, again, not really catching it, nods and goes, "Oh yes, it was very rigorous."
Kiala's antenna palps just kind of slowly straighten up as she just turns and looks at Kali. Oh, really?
And Kali kind of pouts at Kiala and goes, "Yes, she doesn't hold back like you do."
And she kind of turns to Summer and she kind of mouths, "Well done."
We did the fighting thing. We didn't fuck.
And that is the point.
The reaction was so worth it.
That is the point where whatever emotional control Kali has, like the very pale Ichani skin goes bright red and finally catching on. Oh. And I think that's a good point to jump from that scene to the group getting back together, which I believe we are about to be treated to a Sikoran tradition at this point. Yes, no, Melissa?
Karaoke!
Karaoke!
Yes!
I was like, you're here because I just saw something yellow.
Who saw
Hi,
something
Katie.
Sarki's girlfriend.
Yeah, my girlfriend's currently playing Monster Hunter.
yellow?
Sounds like she could be on our crew.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, I'll take like a lightsaber that's bigger than Summer.
So, the crew heads out to a karaoke bar. The one that you went to last time apparently was able to get renovated. Business has been good on Socorro with all these nascent rebels coming in and spending their credits here and helping with supplies being brought. The menu has expanded. The alcohol list has expanded. The place has a fresh coat of paint on it, which is quite nice to see on Socorro, where most things don't get painted because sand. Lots and lots of sand.
Just like Arizona.
It's so coarse.
And rough.
And rough.
Gets everywhere.
And irritating.
And hot.
And it gets everywhere. Anyway.
And it gets everywhere.
I mean, but getting it off is fun.
I don't know about that.
I
Yeah.
didn't even mean to do that. I forgot about that.
I think Zora's just like, can we order drinks? Can we order drinks?
Yeah, this is definitely the conversation
Drinks
happening
are brought
on
to
the
you,
way.
and upon recognizing who you are, just like last time, the house goes around and just keeps buying you all rounds.
Wait, what?
Nobody in the black hole lets you buy a single drink.
Oh my god, Kiel is going to every table going, I'm with them.
But can Kiala outdrink Summer?
I guess we'll find out.
Oh, she's
Can any of
Balasar.
you-
She probably can.
Can
mean,
any of
she's-
you outdrink Crava? Is the question.
Drinking competition. Oh my gosh.
Are
One
we
of the
doing
karaoke
this?
songs
No.
has to be a drinking song now.
Ooh. I feel like we're going.
Are we doing this? Are we doing karaoke drinking competition?
I think we are doing karaoke. Do you-
Quick pause. Thank you to Zeddy for the 100 bits.
It is.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out.
It is.
Well, we got beer money for a
Yes!
beer off here, so
Beer, booze money.
Woo. So that means we get advantage on all our rolls, right?
Well, I'd have to say, Zeal Zaddy, any requests?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
no.
yes.
Oh no. Oh, we should have done that from the get-go. Bit is our karaoke song requests. Oh,
All right.
man.
So, with that being the case, all of you are given a local variation on Corellian ale, normally purple and very, very frothy, but in this case, Socorro makes it where it has much more of a blue twinge to it. They must be doing something different here.
They're not adding enough schnozberries.
They don't have schnozberries. The entire planet's a fucking desert. But with that said, how does this go? You get your drinks. You're well taken care of. The karaoke stage is open. This is the first time after Korriban where all of you are actually together and can relax.
Summer is gonna certainly try to drink at least Kiala and Crava under the fucking table. I
he's not
am the
gonna be left
strongest.
out.
I will win.
Well, even if
say
you
that.
succeed, at least she doesn't risk alcohol poisoning.
And now I get the question.
Look, I can heal it. I'll sweat it out through my skin or something. It'll be fine.
Do we want to resolve this via dice rolls, or how do we want to do this?
You would do that to me.
I'd say a dice roll. That would work.
Dice roll. So then, in
Okay,
that
what
case,
would we even roll?
So in this case, Airlock Tradition, which brought up Pisces and vodka way back when we first started this game, the entire system. It's straight up 1d10. Whoever has the highest wins.
D10.
Oh boy.
Oh,
It's
I guess I
straight
should
up
actually
1d10.
open roll 20.
Yeah, you
might
should.
want to.
Oops.
Probably.
We haven't needed it yet, thankfully.
Oops.
Who's gonna
What?
be first?
I'm
Who's gonna
Oni's
set
in
the
on
standard?
this. It's terrible, but she's in on this. Okay,
Okay.
6, not bad.
For a drinking competition itself, they actually take away the beer. They say if you're on Socorro, it's not going to be ale. It's going to be Rava. Rava is a local liquor made with local desert berries.
Oh shit.
It's essentially moonshine.
It's essentially
Oh no!
it's a
Yes, good.
100% picturing the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark at this point.
yes.
With-
It is that. 100%. The berries themselves are kind of like very, very tart blackberries. So the liquor has quite a bit of a tang to it.
Damn.
Actually,
So-
sounds good.
Sounds good.
6 for Moni. It's also, again, these are spacers and smugglers. It's strong.
Damn it, Crava.
I
Crave is going to
feel
be hard
like
to beat.
Oh
I feel like I should
no!
get a racial advantage.
I have fucking... Okay, it can still tie.
It can still tie. It can still tie.
Oh,
That's
didn't see
too
that
funny.
coming.
That's too funny.
Motherfucker.
Oh my god. Over.
Ooh.
So, Zora, are you in on this?
I think Zora wants to, but Zora also knows that maybe someone should be like DD and like kind of take care of someone.
Going anywhere.
Kali very helpfully leans over and touches your shoulder gently and says, "I will be happy to abstain so that you can enjoy yourself." And pushes the bottle in front of you. You can't tell if she's fucking with you or not.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, Zora has this face. It's like, is she trolling? Like, is she fucking with me right now? Like, what?
Literally can't tell. You don't know if
She
that's
learned
just
about it earlier.
Dude, you can't even tell when she's drunk.
Well,
She's the
I'm
exact same.
Knowing Zora's character, I'm kind of hoping she fails to be in character. Let's see. Oh wait, where's my camera thing? Okay. I hope I typed this right.
Watch Zora get a I was gonna say 10.
Yes!
Perfect. Oh my
It's
god.
perfect! It's so good!
Why did the dice always know?
The dice knows. I always roll for the good side in the force rolls. I get a 1 in drinking games.
so. Zora, how are you eliminated? What does this look like?
So Zora just gets so caught up with being with everyone and just kind of forgets that, being a guardian, like, alcohol is kind of abstained. Like, so, and with not having tolerance whatsoever, it goes pretty quick, but she takes it like a champ. She thinks, oh, my body is trained for, like, I am like fit, like I know my, like, I know fighting arts, damn it, my body is a weapon. She takes a shot, and I swear the minute the warmth goes down her throat, it feels good, but like after 1 second she is just buzzed out of her life. She's in a good place right now, like very good, but definitely cannot like function. And that was
Oh.
just like the first shot.
All three of your Montails are just like vibrating in this really warm buzz. Your Leiku begin to kind of like twitch and move on their own.
It's like a little dance.
Like a little dance.
This is great.
Oni, you put up a good fight, but you don't make it to the end. What happens?
I think Oni, I think this is a long drinking contest, and she gets like an hour in. It's respectable. She's starting to get sloppy drunk and is like trying to teach Dathomirian drinking songs, but no one else speaks Dathomirian. So she's just like randomly singing these songs out loud in the bar.
And Zora just tries harmonizing, doesn't know the words at all, but it's just like,
oh yeah, Kiala's right in there with it. Like,
yes!
She's completely right there with Zora.
Summer knows a little bit of Dathomirian. She's probably picked up a little bit from Oni, but
So Summer's the only one that sounds
not
good.
too many.
So, like, I think she's, like, halfway through a chorus on a call and response song, and, like, Summer might actually be responding. And you just see her, like, it's her turn to sing the next bit, and you just see her stop for a moment, and then bolt for the bathroom.
Oh.
And then we come down to the final three, where apparently this was a very long fight, 2 9s and a 10. So how does this go? This is an epic battle of booze at this point.
Kiala's totally sloshed, and she keeps like, leaning over and going, "Are you sure you're not part Balasar?"
No, I've just had a lot of alcohol in my youth.
Right, drinking, yes. I'm totally not distracted at all.
So, it's a close call. I mean, Kiala probably is. She's going to be feeling the effects just as strongly as anybody would. She's just, the tolerance comes in that she can take the toxicity levels. So she's still she's actually probably more drunken in her behavior than both Crava and Summer. But for some reason, it just doesn't knock her down, which has to do, again, with resistance to toxins.
I think Summer, it doesn't affect Summer as much, especially with her healing, but having to focus on that all the time, I think slows her down.
Literally drained from using the Force constantly.
Yeah, like if this were going for another 3 hours, maybe they would be closer, but...
And how does Crava drop out?
Practically, she just kind of leans back in her chair and just kind of starts to nod off. He just eventually just falls asleep in the booth.
That's pretty Crava.
That is pretty Crava. A rather concerned Mirialan waiter comes by and just like makes sure Crava isn't going to fall all the way over, and then just very carefully, very deliberately takes the bottles away from all of you at that point. Only to be replaced with more ale. They'll give you the weaker stuff. They're just, you're done with the hard liquor.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm awake. Kind of.
I am flashing back so hard to so many college parties right now.
At least you got invited to parties.
Most of them.
Okay, disclaimer, guys. Don't do drugs. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, please drink responsibly.
Yeah,
I
please
was
drink
stupid
responsibly.
in uni. So.
Yes.
So weed is fine and should be legalized, though.
So back to our irresponsible drinkers. What do we do now? You're in the karaoke bar. Who gets up to sing? Do you have discussions at the table now that liquor has certainly loosened some lips and maybe shut others from just sheer exhaustion?
At some point, Oni's gonna come back out from the bathroom, like, probably at about the time that the game is wrapping up, and is gonna be like, "So is anyone else singing, or is it just me?"
You got Kiala drunk enough. She'll be singing.
Okay.
You see
I'll
a
sing.
hand raised.
Just I need a second. You go first.
Okay, I'll go.
Zora
I'll go
raises
get
a hand.
I'll go get us
I
all
was
signed
still
up.
passed out.
Crava's out. Honey. Aw. And Oni goes up to the place where you sign up for the karaoke, and is actually not going to sign herself up. She's going to sign. She's going to sign the other 3 up to sing. Like,
You goddamn troll!
Deception.
Damn!
Whatever this
Backstab.
world's version of Sweet Caroline is, that's what Oni
Oh my
signs them up to sing.
Dare.
Sweet hut of mine.
Sweet hut of mine. There we go.
I'm gonna kill you, Jacob.
It could be better. It could have been All-Star.
No, All-Star
You
would
know
have been
what?
better.
Just for that,
All-Star
It's
would
All-Star.
have been better.
It's All-Star.
You know what? Okay. Well, how do we find this out? Is it
The
like an
DJ calls your
announcement?
name.
Oh yeah, no, it's certainly an announcement from the MC. Did you give their real names, Oni, or did you like give them like funny nicknames or anything like that?
I'm going to say it's, well, because they need to know, so I'm going to say it's their code
Okay.
names.
It's their code names. All right, so Valkyrie, Click, and
No, it wouldn't be Click.
No, Click is
passed
passed out.
Oh, Click is. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that
Yeah.
you sent Click.
So Roach.
So
and-
Valkyrie, Roach, and Sable.
I still want to update mine.
Oh,
I think
what?
Roach does
Are we?
too.
No, you're not going into combat. That was wrong. Ignore that.
I mean, I'll use Storm for karaoke. Why the fuck not?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. But I have to pick a different song for that. It has to be something by like fucking Ramenstein or something.
Of course it would be.
Either Ramenstein or a really, really intense MCR song.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Oni
something
is
from
like,
Tier would be perfect.
Oni is just pushing all of you up towards the stage, laughing her drunken head off as she does.
Oni, you suck!
Oh, okay, cool. Cool, thanks. Just several different variations of the finger.
Water off a duck's back. Oni is living her best life right now.
Living
Doesn't
her
care.
best
So how does the performance go? Do you 3 blow it out of the water? Is it a drunken
Hell yeah, we did.
bubbling mess? Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. At least certainly, Zora and Summer, we can't speak for Kiala.
Kiala.
Oh, I'm
how does
sure.
it sound?
Kiala starts singing the wrong song.
Oh.
That's so good.
All she heard was hut, so she started singing in Huttese.
Oh. Oh,
And
honey.
she's totally into it.
So maybe just Zora and Summer try and sing louder to sing over her.
You might have to try and shove her off the stage.
Yeah, we kind of like sidle, like the way we dance maybe is just like slowly pushing her out of the stage. Oh.
Oh,
Up,
so
guys.
good.
But yes.
Okay.
Swimmingly.
Mass applaud. massive amounts of applause from the crowd at that point. It's just everyone is very clearly of happy heart and happy mind. They're entertained. They're loving this. It's just happy heart, happy mind. It just basically whatever it is that's going on in the galaxy is far away at this point. That could be dealt with another day. Now is a time for joy and celebration and laughter.
But is it far, far away?
Yes, it is for now, but it's getting closer. But anyway. So, is there any more karaoke tonight? Is there any discussion amongst the crew as the day is winding to a close at this point?
I got nothing.
You got
Well,
Once
Kraba's passed out, so I don't think I can
Oh.
talk to her.
Krava can wake up.
I can wake up.
Kraba can
Oni
wake
is
up.
going to check in on her girlfriend and make sure she's not like actually passed out.
Yeah, I'm recovering. Kind of like that slightly drunken stupor you get after like a 15-minute nap,
Mm-hmm.
but still, what's the word? Workable, I guess.
Functional.
Functional. Yes, thank you. God, I can't word today.
Well, you're drunk, so.
I wish.
And what do you do? What do you say, Krava?
What was the question?
Oh my God! I was asking if anyone has like anything to add or
I
discuss
think Zora-
here. At the end of the
No,
day.
yeah, Zora was wanted to ask something about Krava, but
Yeah, I think first of all, I think she's slightly, I mean, she's still super drunk, but like it's kind of wavering off because I'd like to think Zora has a good metabolism, so it's kind of burning off, and she kind of goes just like, you feeling better now? It seems like you're recovering.
I'm fine.
Huh? Oh, well, how was your, I mean, how has your break been? I know we haven't really talked since Korriban, so you know.
It's been all right. Spent quite a bit of time with Oni, and went back home for the first time since I was a kid.
Oh, how was that?
I got to see the floating gardens again.
Floating gardens? What's that?
It's a series of caves on Ryloth that the wind actually causes the rocks in the area to float. Everything from boulders to pebbles.
That's so cool. I want to see that sometime. Like she just like you could see her like Montrose just still kind of like waving around, still kind of buzzed. Oh, hey. How I kind of remember I wanted to apologize, like during Korriban, I think I was in your like past or illusion. What happened there? I didn't mean to intrude or anything, but I was just hoping you'd be okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not something I've really told anybody about, but I guess it does need to come out at some point.
Yeah, I just felt bad about intruding, It's hard. It's not exact. I understand there are memories that don't really want to share all the time. So, but I'm still, for what it's worth, I'm glad I saw that and saw the you that you are now. And like just drunkenly like punches her on the shoulder.
Just to be a brat, I'm gonna dodge out of the way of her punch and kind of like use her momentum to put her to the floor.
Ah!
I might be drunk, but I can definitely still outgo you.
Oh, you just wait till I'm sober, ma'am. You're just lucky. Yeah. Oh. Whew. And she just smushes her head on the table.
Which I imagine is disgusting, by the way.
She doesn't care. Or maybe she mumbles, "It stinks."
Summer will actually sing one more song.
One more song.
In Huttese, I think it's like, how familiar are y'all with country?
Not at all.
Just like
Barely.
It has to be like those super popular songs,
Yeah,
or else like
yeah.
it's just like
Not even that for me.
something along the lines of like a Miranda Lambert song, just like, why don't I fucking have anyone? I'm a catch. This sucks.
Mm-mm. Sorry.
Also, all of my relationships have been terrible. Yeah, Summer's a little bit into her cups, and the feels are coming out.
Oh,
Oh,
pretty country.
It's that is country, isn't it?
Mm.
I think when she comes down, Oni is going to like put an arm around her and be like, "Hun, I know it didn't work for us, but it will with someone. You're a badass. I mean, look at you. You like killed the mother.
No, we didn't.
Are a motherfucker, is what you are. You
I mean,
fucked her
we never
right
fucked.
up.
Also, we didn't kill her. We didn't kill her.
Yeah, we did. Her
Probably
body like
not.
disappeared in a mist and shit. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was real. I feel
Wait.
like it wasn't real.
Wait, what?
I don't think we actually killed her.
She's implying that it was a force projection.
What are you talking about, Summer?
You can do that?
Look, she's full of weird fucking mystic ass shit. I mean, I made a fucking, spear out of lightning. That's,
That was awesome.
small
That was awesome.
potatoes. Thank you.
That was
It
really
was.
awesome.
But that's like, small potatoes compared to her. That's why I've been trying to fucking talk to the fucking damn little pyramids and get them to fucking recognize me as a Darth, so they'll tell me where the cool shit is at.
I think you are talking about the pyramids, but that might not be the right thing to be fucking right now. And Oni is going to stand up on the table.
I'm not fucking the pyramids.
Oni is going to stand up on the table and she's going to go, "All right, you filthy Sokoran bastards, I love you all to bits. Who here wants to fuck my friend?"
Oh, God.
There is
Sweetie.
there is not a glass that stays lowered, as it appears that they are all enjoying this very much.
I'm going to reach up and pull Oni down off the table.
You actually see a Deveronian female and a Zabrak female almost come to blows over it, very deep in their cups.
Summer absolutely like tries to hide under her cape a little bit, but just like does like a little bitty wave.
The little bitty wave gets more cheers and more applause at that point. And with that though, it does from the teasing and the laughter, a call does actually sweep out from the crowd. Someone starts shouting for the dark horse, for the rebellion, for the cause. And everyone starts raising glasses to that, and there is a rousing cheer of for the cause.
For the cause.
And it's at this point that some of you notice that other people from Socorro are actually here. Sadwi and a couple of the Black Balir is here. Jirok is here and somehow managed to get over towards the table and is very stealthily, but not stealthily, chatting up Kiala.
Oh, hey, Sirach.
I told you that we would meet here again, did I not?
I don't know. I just remember you being short.
Friends who roll dice, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to the rebellion for about the next 15 minutes at the very least. But stick with us because
welcome to the drunken fun times that is the Dark Horse.
Welcome to the rebel cause, where the cause is currently trying to get a Sith fucked.
Yeah.
and not in the way you think. But Jirok is there. They're completely hitting on Kiel the entire time. You see that Wyron and Carice are there, as well as several other tribal members that you've met throughout your tenure here. Some of you pick out faces from the crowd. Remember some of the people that were in that prison camp in the Rim Mountains that you freed. They're here as well. It seems that once word spread that the Dark Horse was here doing karaoke, the place just packed with even more people over and over and over. And it's a lot of people at that point are just coming over to the table, shaking your hands, telling how much they appreciate everything you've done, saying, asking what they can do for the fight, what they can do to participate, what can we do to help. There's a couple of people that ask for autographs. They ask for to have something to remember you by, memorabilia, what have you. Summer does get quite a few advances at that point. You do get a holocom number from more than a few people.
Ask me when we're sober.
The Mirialan who slips the number into your palm says, "Oh, I will."
Summer blushes again, but takes it.
And with that, there's no other way for me to really describe it, but the scene in Casablanca where the entire bar just breaks out into a chorus of Les Marseillais, in the face of fascism trying to drown out their voices, their culture, their people. The crowd launches into a rousing song of a variation of the theme of the Galactic Republic, the government that has not been around for a decade now, that has been destroyed. And their voices rise up with a call of, from core world to far rim, we all come from shared kin. All stars burn as one until the battle is won. We shall be their demise through the lows and the highs. Together we will rise and see that the empire dies. Far away from Socorro, we center upon the planet of Rylith. Storms rack the atmosphere, doing great damage to anything above ground. Twi'lek resistance fighters are running through a tunnel, trying desperately to get away, yelling at each other that what they have needs to make it to General Syndulla. They turn over their shoulders, firing blaster rifles wildly in these darkened tunnels, not even knowing if they've hit what they're aiming for, but they don't care. It's very clear they're just trying to slow it down. Fear is palpable through the dark. You can see the sweat, fear in their faces. One of them is suddenly stopped and is immobilized, can't move, and is trying to push against some unseen force until they are pulled back suddenly, a red beam protruding from their chest. They fall lifeless. The rest of the Twi'leks run, never looking back at their fallen comrade. As stepping over the body, you see a face mask stamped with the Imperial emblem over it. The Keldor known to you only as the Hunter, the Hound, chasing after them. The Empire has come fully to Rylith. Roll credits.
Damn you, Jago.
You
I want
ever leave it on a
fucking
good
kill him.
note, Jago? Like, couldn't we just end drunk and happy?
No,
Like-
it's not Star Wars.
No!
Thank you, Diesel Shot, for the
Yes!
raid. Party of 10.
Yes.
Oh
Thank
no,
you so
we're
much.
just
We're-
ending.
I know we're just wrapping up here, but if Star Wars is your jam, you can come and check us out here on Hyperdrive, the first Ember, every Thursday night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. We and the crew of the Dark Horse are a group of early rebels, first lighting the fire of resistance against the Empire. The fight is desperate. It seems unwinnable at times, but this crew is going to be the reason the Empire falls. That is the end of our actual show for tonight. So before we close, though, this was shore leave. Everyone got to refresh all of their relationships. So why don't we go around first and have each character say what their relationships were and if they've been refreshed or if they've been changed and why. So I'm going to start in reverse order from how I did the intros. So that means we are going to start first with Kiala.
I'll try to be quick about this. So with Ani, I'm changing it. It was previously Comrade. I'm changing it to Ward because she's taken her more on as a student and teaching her how to use the lightsaber. So that's going to be more of a mentorship in Kiala's view. With Summer, it's actually going to change to Comrade. It was previously Ward, but she's shared some warm moments with her, some surprising insights from her, and there's just a growing sense of friendship that reminds her to be more open-minded with people who travel a different path. And then with Crava was previously an inspiration. I am changing it to a curiosity, because how did a Twi'lek nearly drink her under the table? I mean, she expected that from Summer. She expected some competition from Summer. But Crava?
Never underestimate Crava.
There's more she needs to know. She needs to know what this backstory is. And then with Zora, it's changing from Comrade to Inspiration, and that was from the scene at the funeral ceremony, because she was very impressed with Zora's empathy and with her insight and her being able to interact and take a lead role with the people that had approached them. So she was quite impressed.
Very good. Let's see what relationships Zora either refreshed or changed.
Okay, so Zora refreshed her relationship with Summer, and it is changing from curiosity to comrade. I think just having that that scene together and just pranking Pravek. It's not so much I think that just kind of that curiosity of like othering Summer just kind of disappeared, and just having Summer like kind of have that talk of like, hey, you inspired me to do this, and like she didn't know her like admiration was like mutual, so it's like, oh, we're buds now. So it's definitely like more like comrades in arms now that we're gonna kick ass together. And I I refreshed Crava, but I'm still she's still, I think I'll keep it as a ward right now because she's still very curious about Crave, like how Crava is doing with her force stuff. So yeah, that's it for Zora.
Okay. And with all relationships for Zora, let's move on to Crava. Crava, relationships are fresh, relationships changed.
I don't think any of mine have changed. So I've got Summer as a curiosity. That one refreshed. Kiala, I still have a grudge, as a grudge, because she's a Jedi and, that whole thing.
That old chestnut.
Force forbid.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm thinking I might actually change Oni to Ward.
Interesting. Oni to
She
Ward?
she keeps getting in too much trouble. I think I need to protect her more.
Oni, get in trouble? Are you sure about that?
What? Nothing bad ever happens to Oni, ever.
Out of character, I was legit trying to stay back in the fight with the mother and still went to like frickin' 18 danger.
Yeah, at least you didn't go to 23.
And then
it was impressive.
Zora, I might actually change to Comrade.
What was Zora previously?
A Ward.
We're just wards to each other.
Yeah.
But now it's a Comrade.
Yeah.
Why from Ward to Comrade? What changed?
Because she helped me in a time she brought it up here, but she helped me in a time when I was essentially helpless. So she can kind of hold her own. And I'm starting to see that.
Very cool. I like that.
I like that.
That is good. Summer, what you feeling tonight?
Well, a couple of things have changed. The only one that hasn't changed is Crava, and I think that's just because we didn't really get an individual scene together. But Zora went from a curiosity to an inspiration.
Yeah, what's going on?
Because, Zora is probably the closest thing Summer has to a best friend. And, it's fucking mushy. And, also, she, because of her history with Oni, she views, Zora as, hey, you want to learn dark side stuff with me? Potentially that kind of bud. Kiala, I think, changed from rival to curiosity. Because, ooh, the Jedi feels love. That is interesting. And also, this mysterious Mr. Zabrak is the closest she came to falling. That's interesting to Summer. It's like borderline between curiosity and rival, because like she still wants to prove that Sith are better, but cool friend bud times. And also more opportunity to tease Kiala about being in love and stuff. Oni. Oni was hard. I didn't feel like Oni was a grudge anymore, but it was hard to put Oni into another category besides comrade. I felt like comrade fit best. I think Summer is. I could go into a whole big tangent on Summer's feelings, especially still concerning Oni, but we don't have time for that. But yeah, Oni's a comrade and Creva remains a rival.
Okay. Very good. I like that a lot of dynamic shifts there, and in very interesting directions from where they went last time. That was very cool. I like that. And let's finish up. Oni,
Okay, so
what do you think of your crew?
First relationship is with Zora, and I think she's going to stay a ward. Again, not because I think Zora is less capable or anything, but just because there's something special there, and I want more of that in this universe. And so Oni is going to protect that. Creva, I think more from the 6 months than what happened tonight, is going to go from grudge back to crush. Just seeing how she was able to interact with folks on these different planets, seeing her kind of like that quiet certainty that she brings. I think Oni is just like, yeah, that's my girl. Summer is also tricky. That relationship is so dynamic. I think she's going to go from grudge to curiosity for the moment. With this, I think Oni's wondering which way Summer's going to move next, having faced, if not defeated, her master, having grown again in power, having spent this time digging into her own history. I think Oni is really wondering where this is going to go and if this is a relationship that they can rebuild. I think that's what she wants ultimately. And I think Kiala, this is another one that was hard to choose, is going to stay rival for the moment. In the sense of like, I want you to, solely because, yes, Oni wants Kiala to teach her. Oni is also the most pain in the ass student any teacher will ever have. But role-playing person to role-playing person, Oni can deal with being smacked down pretty hard and bounce right back.
It's a good thing Kiala hasn't had a student before.
Yeah.
She won't have anyone to compare to.
So yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. And with all of our relationships refilled and refreshed, that is our show, essentially. Today has been an example of shore leave in the overarching system of airlock, which if you like what you've seen here with the very heavy roleplay mechanics, you can go ahead and check that out over on Drive-Thru RPG. It's absolutely worth it. It's like $10. This is only one small piece of airlock. However, we will go ahead and see the actual structured scenes of combat, evasion, intrigue, and crew scenes aboard a starship, dealing with asteroid chases and fighting TIE fighters next time on Airlock Hyperdrive, the First Ember. Let's go around one more time. We're going to give our outros here. Probably shouldn't maybe we'll do that then, but that's fine. I really liked the explanations of all of the different relationships and how they're changing. Let's go ahead and start in reverse order from what we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Oni. In this case, tell us who you are, where else we can find you online, any other projects or games or what have you that you would like to plug, and any final thoughts on tonight's session. Ulfrig, take it away.
Hello, I go by Ulfrig on the interwebs. You can mostly find me on the Welcome to the Party Discord and other Discords led by women and non-binary folks, because turns out there's a lot of us who play awesome games. Other projects I'm involved with: on Saturdays you can catch me over on Story Girls channel playing Star Trek Adventures, in which I play that ship Cinnamon Roll, a very different character. And I am part of the team that helps out with side quests here on Welcome to the Party on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Yeah, and as far as tonight, it was really lovely to have fun with the team in character. I feel like it's been a lot of going very hard for a very long time, so that was just really lovely to have an entire session of that. Thank you all very much.
I think it was needed, especially after the emotional and just dramatic tension of last time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go now and hear from Persephone.
Hi, I'm Persephone. I played Summer. You can find me at Persephone Hime on Twitter and also in the Welcome to the Party Discord. And at some point, again, you can find me on twitch.tv/ the Bardic Knock, playing One Piece D20 before the Crimson Storm, where I am a 12-foot tall gay anime pirate with a fucking snake.
The snake is the important part there.
Oh yes, it's very important. It's a sentient snake. It's a bud.
And any final thoughts on tonight's session?
I want to kill the hunter so bad. I think this was good, both as like, a reset and like a reintroduction for Welcome to the Party. Us moving up in the world. I think it's also a good base for future conversations, because I am not 100% sure about Summer, but I'm definitely more interested to hear more like Jedi Sith philosophy debate club.
Oh, there will be plenty more. You brought holocrons aboard. Like, what do you think was going to happen?
My pyramids.
My pyramids. Oh god.
Hey, maybe in their point of view, they're like our Sith.
It's a possibility. Let's go ahead and hear next from Sorkia.
Hello, I am Sorkia. I play Krevas Threllis, the Twi'lek sniper and Black Ops, whatever she is. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, you can find me on Discord on the Welcome to the Party servers at Sorkia, and that's about it. I'm not really anywhere else online. As far as this game tonight, why don't we do more karaoke scenes more often?
Because you have space Nazis to kill.
Oh, true.
I mean, I suppose like you could do karaoke.
No, the question is, we have to buy a karaoke system on the Dark Horse.
We can sing and dance on their graves.
I was going to say, we have a bunch of droids. We can turn one of them probably into a karaoke machine.
Wait, who's the trolley one? Get the trolley droid to be the karaoke machine and have him hate it.
Is that Beat or is that
Beat?
Sparky?
Beat is the dour one. Sparky is the snarky one.
Okay, get the snarky one.
Definitely Beat. Just because he'll hate it more.
And because then we'd all be jamming to the beat.
Oh no!
We broke
Jago. It took us almost 3 hours, but we did it. Reset the clock.
I did say it would happen tonight.
Oh, please go.
Hello again. I am Kupo Knight. I played Zora Sade tonight. You can find me on Discord and Twitter as Kupo Knight. On Twitter, it's KUP0KNIGHT. I am usually on the Discord and Twitter, kind of hyping up fellow friends' TTRPG stuff in streams. I also hype up for Welcome to the Party's Vibrant, Visible, Victorious BIMPOC one-shot show, and that happens every Saturday, which just recently moved their times to I think it's 2 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. So we definitely moved it up. So 2 p.m. Eastern every Saturday, and this Saturday is scheduled GM Zindaris, also known as not Zindaris. It's not Zindaris, is it? Yes, it is Zindaris. On this Saturday, May 16th, he will be GMing. It's a GM-less game, and it's called Take My Revolutions by Queen Sword Games. On Twitter, I think she goes by Jammy, and it's basically a GM-less game of you basically play these like sword fighters. If you've ever heard the anime called Revolutionary Girl Utena, it's basically that in tabletop RPG form. So if you want to be these beautiful schoolmates duel with feelings and sword fighting, that's your jam. So if you are a person of color or a person just wants to just want to partake in one-shot shows, please check us out at vibrantvisibleVictorious.com. And in terms of this episode, I think it was very much needed. Even though we play every week together, I don't know, it did feel like the characters are kind of coming back after a long wait. And I think it is because the characters have been through a lot these past 13 episodes. So it was great. The dynamics were fun, and I like playing a drunk person. So so yeah, it was really great. Thank you. I love this crew.
I do too. Thank you so much for playing. Thank all of you for playing. Honestly, this has been my favorite thing. And last but certainly not least, Kelly.
I'm Kelly. I played Kiala, the Balasar, Slicer, Spicer, Smuggler, Lounge Singer, Jedi Knight. And I do want to apologize to everyone who's on the Welcome to the Party chat that I cannot participate in that. I have tried many times. It really does cause a lot of connectivity issues, but if anybody needs to reach me, please feel free to actually shout out to Jago, who is my spouse, and always passes on your messages to me. As far as tonight's episode, it was a really nice bright spot, given all of the intense emotional episodes we've had before. So it was great to have this more relaxed setting to do some bonding, but I am still wanting to see some backgrounds from my players. I'm all about the backstories. So keep them coming, guys. And love you all too.
With our crew giving their outros, I have been your Galaxy Master for the evening. I am Don. I am Jago. I am so proud to be running Hyperdrive for this crew as part of Welcome to the Party. We are done here for the evening. There will be nothing further on Welcome to the Party tonight. Instead, we are going to go ahead and give our friends over at Tabletop Galaxy a raid, who are also playing Star Wars, but they're playing Fantasy Flight Games' Edge of the Empire system. So the fight against the Empire just never fucking ends, apparently. So with that said, we will be back next week, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are here every single week running this crew as they grow the rebellion, make contact with resistance cells, and punch space fascists in the fucking dick every single time. If you've liked what you've seen here tonight and you want to see this crew get into the action more, go ahead and check us out on our sibling channel, New to the Party, twitch.tv/new to the party. You'll see all 12 of our previous episodes there. The last one was on here. Forget that. You'll see all 12 of our previous episodes there where you can join the Dark Horse from the very beginning, get a look at how Airlock actually works, and then catch up with us on Thursdays going forward. Thank you to all the people that rated. Thank you to all the people that subbed. There were just so many and just everything was intense tonight and we were focusing so much on that, but you are seen, you are appreciated. We are so glad to have you here. We hope that you'll continue joining us on this Star Wars adventure. We are done. We will see you next week. May the Force be with you. And until next time, resist, reclaim, rebel, and raid. Good night, everyone.